These tutorials are made possible in part by an Epic Mega Grant from Epic Games. All right, hi everyone, Josh Hughes here, and as always, I'm with Add-A-Tudez Entertainment Company, Team Kaizen, and Ingenium. And today we're back on my Fortnite island where we're creating stuff. And if you saw my last tutorial, you saw I showed you how to do a fishing hole and all that. I've deleted all that because today we're going to learn how to do a race. And one thing to note is that when you have a player spawner, that player spawner only correlates to one player. So for every player that you want to be able to have in your world, you need to have at least one more spawner. And honestly, a race on your own is kind of not fun. So let's go ahead and make this a two-player race. So I'm going to go ahead and from my quick bar, I'm going to select player spawner. And I'm going to put one right there. And excuse the squirrely flying, I'm still getting used to flying. Now you'll see in my quick bar that I've loaded it with a motorbike, a timer device, the player spawner, the race manager, a race checkpoint, a bounding box, or which actually, if I remember correctly, it's called a barrier box, I believe, and a game ender device. We're going to use all of these today. I got them from my inventory. And so first of all, since we have two different player spawners, we need to tell them what teams they represent. So let's go to the first one. And we're going to say this one is player team 1, which you'll see it kind of turned blue. I mean, it's hard to see in the sunlight, but it turned blue and gave that a number 1. This one we're going to tell it's team 2, and it turned red and gave that guy a number 2. Now, you can technically make a race with any vehicle you want or make it on foot race, however you want to do it. But I wanted to do it with motorbikes, so let's go ahead and bring in our motorbikes. So I'm going to plop one down here, and then plop one right next to it. And don't worry about those like pads being kind of clipping into the beach. That won't be a big deal for the final game product. So for the first one, we will go and customize this one's spawner. And visible during game, we're going to turn that off, and that will make it so that that plate it's sitting on disappears and you only see the bike. Then on this one, we're going to say enable during phase always, enable respawn, respawn time's fine, respawn vehicle when enabled. Activating team, this one will be team 1, and the other one will be team 2. Allowed class all, visible during game, vehicle destruction is off. So that's all fine. Then assign driver. Assign driver means that instead of spawning on that player spawner, we're just going to immediately at the start of the game go to the bike. So I'm going to assign driver for this one from player spawner 1 on player spawned. So I'm going to do the same thing for this guy over here. And we'll do that right there. Select device, player spawner 2 on player spawned. And then activating team. Team 2, and you see that they both kind of fell through the floor to the... Oh, and this one, I forgot to visible during game off. There, so that they're both invisible during the game. Now, to set up our race, we need to do two things. First, we need to pop out what's called our race manager, and we'll work with it more here in a second. But first, what I'm going to do is just go to it and make sure that it's, most of its settings are already good, but the one we want to change is start race on game start. We want that to be a no, because we are going to tweak some settings and make it so that we have a little bit of a countdown for the race. And now we need to add some checkpoints, because checkpoints is how the game is aware of where the players are at in the race and how they finish it, like in what order they finish it. So I'm going to bring out my first checkpoint. Let me see here. I'm trying to figure out how to... I apologize. I'm still getting used to these controls. Take clockwise, rotation axis, drop script, snap collision. Okay, so there I can... Okay, so grow is right bumper. Oh. Okay, so the PC version of Fortnite's not liking that I'm hitting right bumper for that, so we're just going to leave it the size that it is. So we'll put down our first race checkpoint. And actually, I'm going to cut it and move it over just a little bit, because that way it's a little more fair that both bikes can go through it. And now we're going to place a couple more checkpoints around the island. So I'm going to put one here and one here. And the thing is, right now they're all basically the same checkpoint, which is why they have that little timer on it, which says it's the start. So we need to tell these other checkpoints that they're different. And so for this first one, we're going to go to it and tell it that it's checkpoint 2. And notice that right now it thinks that those are two different starts and this is the finish. So it's marking this the finish line. That'll change here in a second. We're going to tell this one that it's actually not a starting point. It's checkpoint 3. So this one's the finish line now. This one is checkpoint 2, and it will have a little 2 on it. And that one has the timer, which is the start. So let's go ahead and see what that's like. Start game. So we automatically transported there, and then we can just go through here and start the race. But obviously we want to do some more stuff in that. So first of all, it'd probably be nice, because, players spawn from here straight to the bikes. It might be nice to give them a little bit of a countdown so that they're aware of what's going on, and like getting kind of ready for the race. So let's go ahead and give them that. We're going to go ahead and pull out our timer device and pop it in. And then we're going to tweak it. And we're going to say its duration is 5 seconds. Timer direction is countdown. That's fine. Start. Timer at game start. We want that off. Activating team any, allowed class any, applies to everyone. Reset timer if it's failing or class check. No, we don't need to worry about that. And we want the result on end to be success. Visible during game, nah. Timer color white. Display in minutes and seconds. And the next one you want to be sure is on is show on HUD. HUD is short for heads up display. It's like all the different stuff you see on screen, like health bars, ammo count, all of that. Show on HUD means we'll actually get a little timer on the screen. Then start when receiving from. Let's see here. Probably the best way to start it would be from Sport Bike Spawner, select event, on player enters vehicle. And since Sport Bike Spawner 1 is going to be occupied no matter what, because you're at least going to have one player, that guarantees that the minute that player takes control of that bike, the countdown will start. And then, let's see here, on success, send event to race manager. And we're going to tell it to start the race at that point. So let's see how that works. And we can still move around before the timer starts, which is kind of not cool, because see, I got to jump on the race right there. And that's kind of unfair. So let's fix that. How we're going to fix that is our barrier device. So I'm going to go to my create thing, pull up my barrier. I'm going to put down 2 of them, one around each bike, one there, and one there. Now we're going to tweak their settings. I just have to get into a good angle where it tells me customize the barrier device, not the... Oh, I had it right there. All right, so on the barrier device, first we're going to go to this menu and go down to zone shape. It needs to be box hollow, because standard, it's like a solid box and the player can't even get in it. Box hollow, it means it's just a barrier, but you can be inside of it or outside of it. But since the player's being transported to the bike, they're going to be trapped inside of it until we tell them that they're not trapped anymore. And so on this one, we're going to say disable when receiving from race manager on start race. And then also I wanted to see barrier style and you know what? Let's leave it on translucent. So now let's go customize this one. And that one we're going to leave on translucent. We're going to say box hollow and disable from race manager on race started. And I just want to be quadruple sure I got that correct on this one. Yep. So let's go ahead and try that out. Notice I can't go forward yet. 2, go. So the last thing we need to do is that since the race is the only thing on this island right now, we should let the game know that that's how that works, that once someone crosses the finish line, the race should be over. So how we're going to do that is we're going to pull out our game ending device, pop it down, and then we're going to tweak it. And first of all, let me winning team, end game, you win, you lose, enabled. All right, so activate when receiving from race manager on race completed. And that means that the game will end once someone crosses that finish line. So let's go ahead and give that a shot. Getting ready. And that's how you make a race in Fortnite. And you can use, like I said, any kind of vehicle you want. You can, make a foot race. And with all the different kinds of vehicles out there in Fortnite, from, bikes to cars to airplanes to UFOs, you can do a lot of different fun kind of race types and use the creating tools to create different kinds of environments to race through and different kinds of obstacles to tackle. So feel free to play with it and stretch this idea as far as you can and have fun creating it. And thank you so much for watching. Let us know what you think, and we'll be back with more Fortnite Creative tutorials soon. Thank you and have a great day.